contentment that they all see as so far out of reach. But through a combination of her largely staying out of the public eye as much as possible, and her, yes, I suppose cultist is the best word for it, being many respected members of the community and always speaking well of her, um, though we know differently, I think most people would say they see her as a pillar of the community, if not necessarily a friendly face. Does that make sense?
Yes. So my thought there was that having Wachter give the accusation uh, gives it all an air of legitimacy. Sort of like how if you wanted to create your own kingdom, you would need to have like a noble lineage of a right to rule. And so that's kind of
Yes.
where my thought process is.
Mhm.
It's like not necessarily that like or yeah, that maybe that is closer to my process. Like, yeah, we're not just saying, oh nope, no more Berger Master. Now it's some other asshole until it is going to be some other asshole. But for now,
Right.
at the
And
climax of tensions, it will be someone they know and recognize and can trust, quote unquote.
Right. And even the point where you intend to make it some other asshole, this was the thrust of that original concern, right?
you can't just install Joe Schmo. There is still kind of the right of birthright here. You need somebody of a noble lineage that is an acceptable ruler. So that's why it had to be Wachter or potentially Irina, or as you've reached back to a land-holding family, you now intend to use Davian Martikov, because the Martikovs are another, though less elevated perhaps, they are a massive landowning family here in Barovia. So they're recognized as having a right to rule,
Yeah.
so it's
And
in
once
that
tensions
sense.
are gone from the current Berger Master, we can start transitioning to a more peaceful landowner.
Right.
Not Danica. Wachter?
Wachter.
Yes, Lady Wachter. Danica's the inn proprietor.
Yeah. Yeah. So also what I was thinking, if I do end up going to her house though, if since I heard Ezek talk for a good solid minute though, I could act like I'm like walking out though, so it's like it's so it would look like that it was Ezek coming out. So I would just do
Oh,
so
interesting. So
yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, so yeah, that came to mind though, and then you came up with that plan, so it works out perfect.
So rather than a
The
slow
witness accounts.
transition, you're pitching basically immediately eliminate her, like the night after.
I was going to say, I don't think there's going to be a gap of ownership of Valaki. It's going to be, oh, there's no more Berger Master? Well, it's someone, and that's
Right.
Wachter there to claim and say, I got you. Yeah, I assume Wachter will just say, "I'll lead you through these times." Now,
Yes,
because
and
this
that-
asshole doesn't have your best interests in mind. So I'll be the one now, and
Even
that
when you
transition
first
will
spoke
happen
to
in
her,
an
that's what she
instant.
said.
I mean, I could even possibly like if that's going to be the case, though, I could probably vouch for Wachter.
The rest of the plan makes sense. That's all I'm saying. Is like there's not going to be this middle ground, like where nothing's happening. But we could just do the same thing that night anyway, regardless of her status.
Yeah.
Nah, she's got her own house.
No, like her doesn't her house like have like a gate around it, right?
Yes, she
And a
lives in the other
trap
walled
door.
estate. Yeah, and some suspicious shit in the basement where you had discovered some signs that that's
Yeah.
probably where the cult meets.
But we may want to push her assassination to the next night just because we need to plan on Victor after the ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to blow our everything if we do that tonight and cause a ruckus. Yeah, the festival won't happen if we do that now.
There is one. One
Like
leg
it's
issue.
What's her name?
That's Merelda. Yeah, yes. Mhm. You do know that, well, it's worth pointing out that, like, it depends on how you want the spell slot sent, right? So, like, he has more, well, of a Monster Hunter toolkit. He has more Dispel Magic, Remove Curse, that kind of stuff than you do. So it all depends on who you want to spend the spell slots to communicate back and forth. But yes, and I think as you're all talking this out, like who goes where and whatnot, I think Relda would probably speak up. There is one other thing you are not considering. If you feel that a considerable number of you may not be useful in a diplomatic sense, though I understand perhaps the need for Ralmir to be by Lady Walker's side, especially because of how she trusts you so. We could simply immediately move on, Victor, the moment that the Burgomaster leaves his manor in the morning. There will be time, as his procession makes it through the streets, perhaps 10 minutes or so. He walks, rides, I suppose, but he stops, inspects the houses upon the way, makes nicey nice with the villagers, at least on his side. You could simply slip in the moment he leaves, eliminate Victor from the picture entirely, and perhaps even make it to the tail end of the ceremony if you insist that Lady Walker wait a few minutes before she makes her proclamation. Two birds, one stone, in that sense. And she just kind of smiles and shrugs. I have had much practice.
I was
And
going to
Von
pitch it the other
Richten,
way around,
go
actually.
ahead.
With servants and everything, like, Gerber ain't fucking sneaking in there.
True. If sneaking was
Unfortunately.
the plan.
Well, yeah, we could go cause a ruckus, but silence is not going to cover that entire mansion, and not for long.
No. Yes, that is correct.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we should ask a guard to maybe our friend can enlighten us on what the security detail will look like tomorrow.
You actually experienced the last one, so you have an idea of what was involved. You recall that the guards went around the morning of, bright and early, in fact, like basically immediately as dawn came around. They walked through the streets with criers insisting that all must attend, and you do recall seeing basically everybody present. Some of the guards were sort of stationed throughout the streets, but basically this whole region was the only portion of town with anybody in it. If you think about it, basically like, whoa, don't move that. What it was sort of guarding the streets that lead to the town square, and everybody else had been sort of pushed into that net, as it were. But while we're discussing that, Victor was not in attendance. Turns out rules for thee, not for me, might be the case when you were the son of the mayor.
Surely his wife attended, so
She did. They both fled as soon as Strahd made his move last time. And then he just sort of let them go.
I think Irvir would be a lot more concerned about protecting the innocent than punishing the unjust.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll probably try to wiggle his way into being at the ceremony the whole time, but there's also very mechanical driven reasons for him to be present at
Right.
Victor.
To give you guys an idea of distance here, right? So, like, let's just do this. If you were to make an absolute beeline, and you didn't even follow... whoops. Oh, yeah, it's scaled. I was going to drag that and then
It's not that far.
measure down. Yeah. You know. You guys could travel that pretty quick. That's 1 minute at a double move, and though 5e doesn't really account for it, the old quadruple move is a full sprint in a straight line. Still kind of makes sense to me. So you're looking at 30 seconds at a full-on fucking run to make it from the Burgomaster's mansion to the actual fairgrounds.
Dude, if Haste and Bromir could do it even quicker.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
But then again, I'll have my come down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bromir shows up like the Flash. You hit him with Expeditious Retreat and Haste, and movement as action, dash as a bonus action. Yeah, Long Strider, that's the one. But yeah, just the fastest motherfucker to ever be a fast motherfucker.
Thanks, take a little bump. Get going.
That's the haste component.
Yeah.
Why
You said good
don't
shit, Rick.
we have Webward do some recon for us today?
Not a bad idea.
If we can figure out where Victor stays,
Mhm.
that helps us formulate a better plan.
I think you've heard briefly before, but it was many sessions ago. When you were first talking about Stella Wachter and where she was when she had been taken, it came up that basically Victor has fully consumed the third floor of the house. Up under the attic is where his study is, and basically nobody goes up there. Even the servants are not particularly fond of it. You do have all of the keys, yes.
My biggest question is more so, can we hit initiative with me casting silence to open combat? And is it
Hopefully.
going to be enough area?
You've seen the house before. Let's see. You were not on the upper floor, but that's the blue water. Hang on. You would recall... Why can I not change pages here? Literally will not let me change map. There we go. You would recall that the house is... And this is me eyeballing for you. About 80 feet on the long axis and about 45 on the short. However, it narrows as it goes up. Meaning that the upper floor is still about 80 feet long, but you recall being maybe 25 or 30 feet wide on the short axis. And
Oh,
one
on
would
the long
assume
axis?
80 feet on the long axis and
Gotcha.
25 or 30 on the short, on the upper floor is your best guess. You never went up there, but you did see from the outside that, like, it's squat and kind of narrows up under the attic where the eaves hang over, more like to the second floor, but there is that narrow section up above, which is where they're talking about him kind of taking up residence.
Yeah, silence is a 20-foot radius sphere.
20-foot radius is likely
Yes.
to basically blanket, a good half of that area. Mm-hmm. Librarian's fireball. Fireball of shh.
Yeah, I mean, if he has an arcane focus, but otherwise making sure he cannot use verbal components for anything
think
is
you'd
the idea of
all-
silence.
You guys are from a setting where magic is common. You know that you tie up the fighter in handcuffs or whatever, but there are procedures for dealing with spellcasters.
Yeah, bind
the answer
hands, so no
usually being
somatics, bind
yes,
mouth, no verbal components.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm absolutely preparing silence for tomorrow. And
Well,
that's
and
also
you-
assuming he does not have a spell-like ability or enchanted object that just does a thing. Like, we know for a fact that one of our allies has a necklace that just triggers a
Sure.
recall.
Yes, but you also know that's fairly high-level magic.
Yeah.
Um,
Look, all I'm
Nobody
saying
really-
is that motherfucker's curse beat the hell out of my third level remove curse.
That is fair. But also, if you recall how that worked out, you got the impression that that was a sort of hacked together spell that took him. This unfortunately is only ever really afforded NPC effects, not player stuff, but he worked on that for a while. It's layer upon layer of hacked together magic. That was not like he dropped a 7th level curse out of nowhere or whatever. He had to ritually scarify her. He had to torture her, and basically, through a long process, got that curse to adhere. He did not just wave a hand in one round and apply that like the actual spell. So,
Big difference.
just keep that in mind as well. Yes. Yeah, again, to run down things you know about Victor that have been discussed in the past. He seems to be agoraphobic. He doesn't like going out. He doesn't like dealing with people. You know that he basically haunts the 3rd floor of that manor. He is a spellcaster for sure, though nobody knows for certain where he got his magic. But given that he has a propensity for, like, buying up rare books, odd bits of lore, you assume he's not a warlock. He's probably a wizard. Especially because, if I recall correctly, Narlug recognized some of what you showed him earlier. So, with all of that, to talk about your entangle plan, one can assume most wizards, present company excluded, Narlug, as you seem to have a powerlifter's physique, but most wizards are not on the brawny side. So Entangle's likely to be pretty effective.
Like hits a nice little pose.
Right.
Look at my muscles.
The
Hey,
robe
bro.
sleeves have bicep cutouts.
What if? So I do like the plan overall. My only concern is that if something goes wrong, we fuck up bigger plans. A lot.
That is true. You would probably have to consider the fact that, well, So you are, 600-ish feet away. There is going to be the sound of a large crowd. There are going to be the horns that heralded him last time. And even spells that make a point of saying they're incredibly loud, like thunderclap, that sort of thing, is a 400-foot automatic range where they're heard. I think you'd have to make a hell of a ruckus or set the building on fire to really make it obvious what's occurring elsewhere. You might have to subdue a guard or two on the way in, but you do know that any that would be guarding his manor or the street right out front are likely to be in deep with what he's up to. Especially now that you've talked to Mickle and made sure that all of the friendlier ones are going to be stationed further away. But you are right, Irvir. There's a chance that you could throw everything entirely off if you somehow make an absolute clusterfuck of it.
What if we use Wachter's cultists to keep an eye on the manor while we do the ceremony shit?
That could
Two birds,
probably
one
be
stone.
arranged.
Then we also don't have the cultists to worry about there. Not that they should be doing anything at the ceremony, because that was part of the bargain, but...
Well, it was part of the bargain, but not in the way that you're remembering. Wachter said that the cultists will probably serve to help sway the crowd in her favor. A few properly shouted, insistences that the Baron be brought to justice is a good way to nudge the crowd in your favor. And she had kind of said she'll sprinkle them throughout to kind of help nudge things in the right direction.
She could probably spare a couple to go watch the manor, or if we wanted to split the party like we had discussed. And
Sure.
then, one of us can just... Because I should be able to do sending, too. I could prep sending to say, yeah, ceremony's good. SEAL Team 6, you're a go.
Fair. Yeah, I think it's all up to you. Remember, you have lots of NPCs at your disposal at this point. Danica and Irwin are not exactly like highly trained adventurers or whatever, but they're likely to be very resilient. Danica showed you straight out she cannot be harmed by non-magical weapons. Basically took a dagger and just like ground it into her palm and it did nothing. So...
Oh yeah, that messed up my dagger.
It did. And you had said you wanted to keep it blunted on one side.
Yeah.
So just as a reminder there. But yes, Danica, Irwin, Esmeralda, you have Von Richten, you have Irina although she's not like the biggest combatant, she can certainly be another voice that is of a old and respected family. She is the sister of the Burgomaster of Barovia Village, after all, and everyone seems to like her wherever she goes. And that's not to mention, you could call in other favors. I know you're hesitant to have Milivoy actually deep into anything, but same thing. That's, another person you can have shout something or keep an eye on a corner. I wouldn't count on Father Lucian, probably, to be part of a bloody coup. I think he's worried about a riot.
Yes, a riot. Regardless of which way it goes, the bloody coup, Irvir does not want to be bloody. So his presence is important to him to see if he can make sure it does not be bloody. So that could be the Burgermaster starting shit. That could be Walker going a little off the rails, but that's less likely. Or whatever ends up happening, or even just the crowd gets too antsy and starts ripping the Burgermaster apart. On the other hand, if we do botch the Victor invasion, ceremony gets totally off fucked, and then sessions and days of weeks of planning go up in smoke immediately.
Fair. And it is probably worth mentioning as well, Irvir, you're probably the most public-facing member of the party. We haven't really dwelled on it, but you do spend a lot of time at the church, where there are services every night when you're there. And while you may not be speaking, as, Father Lucian's the one giving the actual, sermon, I assume you're still the sort that would be granting little words of comfort here and there and being a friendly face to anybody in attendance, which means that a decent portion of at least the God-fearing members of this town would recognize you probably more than the others, and you're likely to have spoken to more of them than, say, Rolmir or Narlug or Ayakobachi, I would think.
In my mind, I see Rolmir Irvir at the ceremony with Narlug, Yakobachi, Von Richten, and Esmeralda at Victor's, and Irina also at the ceremony.
Okay. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, Narlug's more for the rating and less for public things.
Okay, so...
Although a well-placed sleep could do wonders if shit hits the fan at the ceremony, but I think that's one of the things we gotta be like, a good old magic missile to break Victor's concentration check will be a lot more useful, potentially. Who knows? Or just sleep in that asshole, too. Or the guards outside to infiltrate. I mean, shit. No, it's a Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army Narlug?
That's right. So having him on SEAL Team 6, I think, makes sense.
Also,
Sending's a third level
Borden
spell,
is
so I'll prep
available.
that too.
I don't believe that Von Richten does. Let me double check.
I could polymorph.
Bard, Cleric, Ranger. Spell lists.
Just make him a sheep. Brah.
So
There you go.
both of them would kind of throw up
God.
their hands. Unfortunately, no. That is not something that I have ever taken the time to inscribe in my spell book. There are other things that I have, but they are more of the, shall we say, either defensive or destructive nature. As brought up earlier, many undead are capable of casting spells without ever having to speak components aloud. I have never found silence to be particularly useful. And Von Richten would basically shrug and, honestly, it's about the same for me. A little bit more on the curative side than she is, but no silence here as well.
I mean, if you do want to do polymorph, though, it'd be ironic if you turn him into a little cat.
That's true. Make him a little kitty.
Meow.
There is one other consideration there. So it sounds like you guys are pretty set on removing Lady Wachter. It had come up before. You're not entirely sure where the boys fall, and it seems like nobody wants Stella to be caught up in the violence.
Where my notes at?
Now, we did talk about if it came to an assault that Danica could retrieve Stella or
Mm-hmm.
have some family member retrieve Stella before shit hit the fan there.
Yes. You would just kind of need a way to let her know.
Yeah. I think I start prepping sending for the next couple nights.
Yeah, just in case.
Fortunately, I was really hoping that I would have some kind of buff that would give you guys, like, protection against anything. And I cannot fucking believe that I don't have anything on my spell list that lasts longer than 10 minutes. Fourth
Okay,
level or
so-
lower.
That's the thing. A lot of stuff is shorter duration without being a fixed location.
Except that I have to see them, so it might as well be.
Right. But what I mean is there's stuff like Magic Circle, but that is, again, a circle that doesn't move, but that lasts for quite a while.
Like, even protection from good and evil's 10 minutes.
Death Ward lasts a long time.
And I was trying to give them, like, ability check modifiers for,
Sure.
like, con, whiz save, something like that. Anything like that. I was like, I got nothing.
Okay, so if we're dealing with the Walker boys, though, it's Carl is the one that doesn't seem as smart as Nikolai. I have that as a reminder.
Yes, Nikolai appears to be the more suave of the two. I think Carl has been more outright friendly, and Nikolai has been friendly as well, but he's the one that has a couple of the, like, double speak lines where you're like, is he fucking with me or is he being genuine? But you know that at least Ralmir, both of them seemed reasonably impressed, although one did notice at your ability to cheat at cards, and they find you amusing, if nothing else. You never seen either of them actively moving against you, but you don't know how that really works with Lady Wachter and all of her plans. The only, I think, real clue, because you guys haven't directly investigated them, is probably the way they behave when she's in mastermind mode, for lack of a better explanation. When she decided she was going to reveal her grand plot to all of you, when she's been kind of scheming for the Baron's downfall, Carl and Nikolai have either been very quiet and subservient to her, just kind of staying out of the way and staying silent in the sort of back corners of the room, or fully removing themselves from the situation. I guess the only thing I would say is, like, you've never seen either of them kind of, like, grinning and being excited about all of this. They've always just kind of stood silently by as she lays out her plans.
Weird mechanical question.
Sure.
Are the Barovians native to this plane of existence?
Interesting question indeed.
I'm looking at banishment.
By now, yes. However, if you banish a creature that is native to the plane you are currently on, it still goes away.
Yes, they go to a harmless demi-plane. That's I was
yes.
wondering if they counted as native to wherever we are.
Well, that gets into some weird theological questions, right?
It sure does.
Because we've already established they're recycling souls here.
And also that here is weird.
Yes, here
is not where it used to be.
Precisely. You know that Barovia is part of the shattered remnants of the core, which is another prime material plane. However, it was a part of the core, and now it is part of whatever shattered remnants remain. And also, yeah, it was mentioned when the night hags went to the ethereal that they might have a good amount of difficulty getting back, because plane shifting here is probably very hard. But I think my answer would be, for mechanical purposes, probably yes. If you had banished a first generation Barovian shortly after the fog came, I probably would have argued no. But everybody here has been, either their soul has been trapped for hundreds of years, going on 1,000 now, or they've just simply been born here. They are made of the stuff of Barovia, even if the souls are old. But you're asking, if you concentrate for the full duration, do they just wink out of existence? Is that what you were kind of looking at there? I don't know if banishment still... Can you link the spell? Just so I don't have to dig in the codex for it. Unless you don't have it prepared or learned, in which case I can dig.
I do not, but I do have the spell list up from 5e that I can just copy paste it in the...
that works. Sure, how much to plane, yada yada yada.
I love how cartoonish it is. Like, they go with
with a faint popping noise. Yes. That is true. I would argue that the way that that's worded is the permanent banishment there back to their home plane only, or permanent banishment period only applies to non-native creatures. So yes, you could
that
wipe
would be my
somebody for the
assumption.
minute and then they would return. Yes. Although I will say, if you banish someone and you maintain the spell, nobody interrupts you. 1 minute is a lot of time for 7 of your allies to surround that 5-foot space they disappeared from, and everybody ready an attack action.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So, is Strahd native too?
Strahd, you think, is probably not native to Barovia. However,
I
he
forgot
is
the charisma.
very charismatic. You can probably assume he has legendary resistances, and also, even if you were to banish him, there's an unusual bond between him and Barovia. He doesn't seem to be fully separate from this plane, if that makes any sense. He fully controls the fog, he controls the weather, he seems to be able to hear and see many things that even a scrying spell would not give you. He's some sort of unusual creature in that regard.
I almost wonder if he'd want to try for fun.
Sure,
Hey, bro,
why not?
failed this save on
Give
purpose.
it your best shot.
Let's see what happens. I figured, even if he was like, no, please, God, yes. But there's some in that Amber Temple is like, bitch, you thought.
Yeah. I was trying to avoid saying it outright, but you're probably correct.
Best I can do for you guys, I think, is freedom of movement. I mean, if the... That's fine. Herb cool with that. You can put him to sleep. They just can't. Like, if you have to kill him. If you have to kill him, he gets it. But, like, try not to.
Yeah. Keg him and bag him.
Probably same with Victor. Like, there's probably information to be gleaned from him if we can capture him alive. But letting a caster
alive.
talk is kind of whack as hell. Maybe I should prep Zone of Truth tomorrow too.
Over here, prep for peacekeeping and also enhanced interrogation.
There's a lot of torture you could do with Cure Wounds.
That is very true.
He ain't about that though.
Probably enjoy it.
No, it would not even cross his thought to torture information out of Victor, even if he's a monster.
Yes, I would like to purchase 8 sets of manacles, and also 8 black bags, ideally with drawstrings pre-installed. Oh, why?
Oh, that's
no
in a
reason.
discount if you buy it in our Kidnappers bundle.
Yes. Would you be requesting chloroform in a rag, sir? Ay, ay, ay. Hmm.
I mean, I have manacles if you
You do have a
want
set of
to.
manacles. Fair. True. Yeah, I mean, if you subdue him in the manor, there are plenty of places where you could lock him in. I mean, you have the keys. That is true. Was that for an hour?
Yep. Whatever.
Yeah.
If a spider bit me, I don't want to know what it's going to do after I'm paralyzed. I'll take the death, thanks.
Right. Although actually reading that, I think the effect applies either way. It just takes full damage if it fails and half damage if it succeeds. Yes, yes, yes. I'm just saying I think that happens if they fail or make the save. Right? Right. Mm-hmm. Correct.
I kind of like that plan so far. I will plan to prepare spells for tomorrow for crowd control,
Sure.
peacekeeping, and mage assassination.
That's true. It is a bloodless way to subdue a crowd. It's a huge area. Yeah. Yeah, less that.
probably
Spike
don't
growth would
need-
probably go through peasants like, like a lawnmower.
We probably don't need freedom of movement at the ceremony, but do one of you guys maybe specifically need it? I don't know how like affected you are by
Well,
difficult
freedom
terrain
of
and slow and
movement.
shit as a polymorphed or wild-shaped druid.
So if can ride a bird, that's a big bird. Oh, well, fair. Um, Yeah.
Yeah, a giant eagle doesn't sound inconspicuous.
Foul. No, 2 fouls.
Yeah. True.
What, like a stealth bomber?
Do a trench run through the streets of Valaki. And I guess if necessary, one of you knows reduce. Tiny Narlook.
Yep.
Maybe I'll prep it, not precast it then.
The only thing that I will point out, since it didn't come up there, freedom of movement lets somebody wade into entangle very easily. If you were planning to entangle Victor. Yeah. No, entangle is good either way. Fair enough. I
think I'm good.
Yep.
Other than whatever Romir is going to do with Wachter tonight to prepare for tomorrow.
Right. So I think that's probably a good conversation to have. Danica would ask you while you're all gathered, or if you could repeat the process from yesterday for helping to feed people.
Yeah, we got some 3rd level spells to blow today still.
Yes, if you think you can, spare the magic, just to help stretch things. Hopefully, well, after tomorrow, one way or the other, we'll be able to reclaim many of the valuable food items that have been used as decorations. And thankfully, we are amidst the harvest season, but the next few days could be rather touch and go, especially as, unfortunately, the local hunters have not been as efficient as usual, given their, shall we say, punishment by the Vistana. They are at least up and moving again.
Yeah, I'll blow 2 3rd level spell slots on that for 90 pounds of food and 60 gallons of water.
It is so much food and water. And yeah, should be very thankful. It is worth noting, I guess, too, like in a dire situation, it is possible for you all to just go hunt as well. Like, I know Ervir's not exactly a,
Yeah, you guys go hunt.
vest wearing, hunter, but like,
I'll sit here and read my book while I feed a whole town.
yeah. I'm just saying, like, they eat a lot of wolf meat. Wolf's got a lot of meat on him,
Yeah, I don't think this is just calories food. This is not nutrition food.
Right. Well, ironically, yeah, Ervir probably does provide a well-rounded meal. It just tastes like wallpaper paste and sadness. But it's probably more nutritious than what they usually eat. Because yes, it's described
it's
as
bland but nourishing. So
yes.
I guess nourishing is probably the important part. But yeah, like if Danica and Erwin and whoever like actually take the time to use it as ingredients instead of eating it raw.
Right.
Like,
and she did mention that, like, it can be seasoned up. Yes. A little bit of proper application of herbs here and there, not to mention some wine can go a long way. So yes, I'm not saying it tastes like sadness. It's not actively bad. It's just, it's like porridge or whatever. Filling, but not extravagant. So yes, Danica would ask for assistance in that regard. She will also, I'll just say, Borden will also be at the festival. He's not able to, like, stop an entire crowd or anything, but, like, if necessary, he can probably, mind blast a few of the guards or even the Baron himself, if necessary. Though I think Danica would say, in general, it's probably best to avoid him directly affecting the Baron unless it cannot be avoided, because you wouldn't want him to look like he's charmed or compelled while any of this goes down. And that does tend to be pretty obvious. But yes, let's see. If it goes well to... Well, not anti. Any... But yes, so at that kind of concluding your group plotting session, who is going to talk to Lady Wachter? Is it just you, Rolmir? Or are you all going to check in with her together?
I would probably just ask Romir what do you want to do. It's his show with Wachter. If you'd like some alone time with the lady, or if you want backup for some reason.
I wouldn't say I would need backup.
Yeah, probably don't need physical backup, but you might want emotional support before you go visit Grandma Bad Touch.
Or is everybody just totally fine to help out at the Blue Water Church for the evening?
Sure. That is true. Lady Wachter, how big you are! You're so large!
We should see if the Vistana can get us some sending stones or something.
Oh, that's a good thought. I mean, it's possible.
I mean, I could say, like, hey, I mean, you look real nice in your dress, though. I didn't realize how large you were.
Shit.
Big guy.
You.
But I mean, she's friendly with me, and
She is friendly with you. I just didn't know if you were bringing.
I mean,
other people along.
if you guys want me to go by myself, I'll just go by myself. I'm not really worried about it. And besides, what our whole plan is.
Reason to tag along, unless you request him. So I don't think he'd probably offer to go with in case you felt like you needed him. But if you're just like, I don't know why, or he's like,
yeah, I can't really think of.
So.
Can't really think of, unless someone can think of other ideas to give Lady Walker. I guess I'll just go by myself.
Okay.
I mean, unless you guys want me to just mention if certain things about the ceremony, if you want to, try to. Unless you need a scout have a cultist scout out the Virgin Master Manor.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, don't start shit.
Who is good, but we want a smooth transition.
Yes.
No building gallows.
And then
that's slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yes.
And then another thing, though, to try to lure into this whole assassination thing, should I just ask her, like maybe after this is all said and done, though, if we could, just me and her just celebrate?
You probably don't need to say anything for her to accept that later.
Right, but I'm just trying to like plan it so like she's alone, not what.
But if you want to put the moves on Lady Wachter to give her the old femme fatale, I mean, I won't tell you no.
I think you probably have a pretty good sense that if you were to be flirtatious with her, while she is an old lady, she is absolutely infatuated with you. It probably would not be difficult to pull her away from anything. But yeah, I guess I don't know if your plan, it sounded like maybe was to like give the wine to her and anybody who was on her side, right? Like kind of have a toast in her honor and
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh my Frolicky Gate.
Yes. Have your own little red wedding. Um,
By the way,
By the way, I got you something. Shank, 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 shank. But yeah, I guess I'll leave that up to you how you want to sort of approach that realm here. But if you were to make your way over to Wachter House, kind of the middle of the afternoon, so things are relatively quiet. I think you'd be greeted at the door by the particularly ancient butler that runs the house, and he would sort of, in his tired and tottering way, lead you to the back room where you often see her, that sort of like dining room / sitting room area. And she would be at the table with a whole bunch of documents spread out in front of her. All manner of things like waiting down corners and keeping books open and yada yada. And it does seem like she's kind of going through her own final preparation list here. But she would immediately look up and greet you and kind of, give you the same sort of not quite hug that she often does, or she just sort of like takes you by the shoulders and, it is wonderful to see that you remain in good health. And I thank you again. I assume you just had dropped the document off. For the truly incredible work you have done with this document. Perhaps the wax seal. Even knowing that it is, she glances around conspiratorially, making sure it's only you two in here. Even knowing that it is not the truth, it is almost impossible to pick out any indication. I trusted that you would be what we needed, but I did not realize how many faceted your talents would be. Truly, you have given an old woman hope. And she would kind of lead you over to the table. Please, let me know what you think. And you two can go through the plan. She appears to be intending, for the vast majority of the cultists she has available, to be near the stage. There are 16 people she says that she can count on. She wants 14 of them nearby, so that if it must come to blows, which I do dearly hope it does not, there will be some hidden knives that we can call upon. And these two in the back, she says, kind of gesturing, further away, they have been told that if the crowd begins to grouse and grumble and disagree, or if there is any sign of sympathy for the Baron, that they will shout and insist that he answer for his transgressions in a attempt to sway the crowd to our side. Additionally, though there are not many of them, I will task my house guard with protection of myself and my sons, who will be with me as well. Though I doubt we could possibly take on the entirety of the town guard with simply the 6 of them protecting me, it should be enough to make a hasty retreat if necessary. And I guess she would kind of look to you for what your plan is.
This is just like kind of just more of like a out of character thing, though.
Mhm.
So would it be a smart idea to mention that not all the guards are going to be protecting the Burgomaster? I figure that would be a good thing to reveal.
I think you guys can feel free to table talk a little bit. I mean, I think that's stuff we could have.
Well, I mean, I
hammered
figured
out
that.
Letting her know that Ezek is out of the picture is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, mentioning that there will be a smaller guard presence,
Yeah.
especially one sympathetic to the Burgermaster, may also factor into plans, especially if she's committing that many resources to it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. No. So, Ezek has been disposed of.
And, the eyebrows go up. Oh, this is wonderful news. Though I have no doubt there will be some questioning of his absence when the Baron attempts to rally the guard. It is not as though he can put off the celebration at this point.
He,
And
he
I
tends
know
to go missing from time to time too, without.
she nods. Indeed, it would be unusual but not entirely out of character for him to have wandered off to sate his bloodlust somewhere beyond the fog. But this is excellent. He is no doubt the most dangerous weapon in the Burgomaster's arsenal. Without him, she just kind of shrugs. Well,
And
the rest are just men with sticks.
they're not all the. There's going to be some guards though that just they're not really sympathetic to the Burgomaster though, so a lot of them are just going to look the other way.
Oh, I did not realize that you were running your own propaganda campaign. This is good to hear. And you could kind of use the map she has laid out to show her, like, yeah, they're planning to station themselves as far away as possible. We know it's about a third of the guard. Things begin to look better and better. And you can see, like, there's almost a giddiness as she, like, looks over this. I had nothing but utmost faith that we would succeed with your help, but, well, this is beginning to look like it may be easy. I must know, what did you do with what remains of Ezek?
He's well, it depends what pieces you're talking about.
Ah, I see. Ah, no matter. I simply wondered if perhaps, well, it may be distasteful, especially for one of your companions, but I thought perhaps his corpse may be useful. But if he is in pieces already, she kind of waves her
Yeah,
hand.
no, it's very been well dismembered.
Ah, no matter. She kind of brushes it off.
We
It is
didn't want the body to be found, so we had to make it look as indistinguishable as possible.
a smart decision. Trying to think what else she would ask about. Ah, yes, the timing of all of this. I was thinking perhaps we can allow the Burgomaster to at least begin, if not even complete, his speech to the citizens. Knowing him, it is possible that his utter detachment from the townsfolk may allow him to somewhat dig his own grave. If he insists that we have, offered up such a bounty for this wonderful festival, that may not go in our favor. But knowing him, he is unable to avoid insisting that we must do better next time. And that, I think, coupled with how dissatisfied many already are, it may provide him enough rope to hang himself with, as it were. But yes, I thought perhaps at the conclusion of his speech, I might insert myself into the situation. As another esteemed member of the community, it is likely that I shall be positioned very close to the stage, and though the guards answer to the Burgomaster, not myself, I do not see any of them barring me from the podium if I insist that I must also offer words of encouragement on such an auspicious day. Stepping up to the stage gives me a good platform to speak and to make the accusation that I must make. I would hope you would stand with me in this.
That's a tricky one.
So she's basically, yes, she wants you to be right with her as this
Yeah, I
happens.
could. Yeah.
You know Irvi will be there with you. So if so, Irvi would probably also be on the stage with you if you agree to that.
Okay. So I'm just going to repeat that to her, though. Is it, or I'm going to ask her, though, is it okay if Irvir comes on stage with us as well? Because
I would.
he's been very active at the church, though, so he has good faith with a lot of people.
I think that is wise. And of course, I have no problem with him also being present. I simply think it is best, perhaps, if it is indicated that you have found this evidence. If it is something that I have discovered on my own, I think it is perhaps more likely to be seen, at least by some, as a plot. But if it is one of you trusted heroes that have brought this dire news to my attention, well, it leads some, or lends some credence to what I have to say.
This makes a good point. Unless you get out of character, unless you guys could think of something else, but I think this is the only way we can really go about it.
No, I think that was the plan from the start.
It was the plan from the start.
Yeah,
Oh,
it just had not been confirmed with her, so she wants to make
oh,
sure.
okay, I get you. I'm just trying to make sure this.
Yeah, that was kind of the plan. Is that
Okay.
this
Yeah.
has been brought to my attention by this brave adventurer, yada yada.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sorry if she seems like she's scheming. That's just how she is.
I mean-
she is scheming, but not necessarily against
this
you
is a
in any
giant.
way. It is a
conspiracy.
conspiracy. Yes.
So yeah. I mean, yep. Yeah, then I'll just tell her that. Yeah, that's fine.
Excellent. And with the two of you at my side, I certainly will feel much safer. I have no doubt that, though the city guard may be numerous, the two of you will be able to protect me and my own. She's talking about her sons. If it does come to blows. Let's see. Well then, excellent. I have no doubt the Burgermaster will wish for you to be on the stage already as a sign of support for his regime, and therefore you will be right there as I step in. So the
Now, just
document is
somebody
prepared.
asks how
Yes.
I got this document.
I think perhaps it is not the worst idea to sprinkle in some manner of truth. You were involved when it came to uncovering the terrible undead lying in wait. I think it is easy enough to simply claim you discovered evidence in the shop before the guard were called in to dispose of it. And in fact, that lends credence, I think, yet again, in that they decided to burn the shop down. Easy to paint as an attempt to hide any of these misdoings. But she kind of looks over everything again. Well, if we are lucky, by this time tomorrow, the Burgomaster will have fallen, and I shall rise to take his place. The only logical and yet trustworthy figure in order to step in and fill the empty shoes. There may be a few holdouts who do not agree with this, but, well, I do not wish to seem too crass, but the small folk are simple. They will fall in line. And I think she would look up again at those windows that display that prophecy. And she just has kind of like a distant look in her eye and a smile. And she nods, kind of at nothing. Yes, I think the pieces are all coming together.
And I guess this kind of just goes without saying too, though. Just keep
Mhm.
the whole thing about Ezek under wraps, though. So
Oh, but of course, I think there is no reason to bring up his absence at all, unless I see a moment where, how we say, pointing out that even one of his staunchest allies has abandoned him may be useful. I will certainly not mention his fate, however. After all of this transpires, I think it will be important to ensure that those who have been disappeared by the Burgomaster and his men are freed. While certainly there are a few among them that have committed actual crimes, I think it would go a long way for the satisfaction of the public to have their missing family members returned from this re-education camp. It is distasteful, even for one such as myself, willing to take such, well, dirty actions to gain control of the town. I truly do not believe in torturing the public to accomplish my own goals. So I think we need to move swiftly after all of the dust even begins to settle to ensure their freedom.
I agree.
She would nod. I do not wish, of course, to ask too much more of you. You have already done, well, more than I could have possibly dreamed to ensure that this day arrives. Well, the beginning of any new regime is uncertain. I think that may be the first large move we can make to ensure that I stay in power. And of course, as we've discussed, if you are successful in accomplishing this transition as we have laid it out, I have more gifts for you and your friends. I have set the boys to empty the vaults, shall we say. There are yet more family heirlooms that I believe might be useful in your hands. And she would just kind of like reach up and kind of cup one of your cheeks and just give you a couple good pats.
I blush.
Turns even redder. Thank you again, Ralmir. You truly are the savior I've been waiting for. And there's like a moment where, you blush, and there's like just an instant where like she sees it and she kind of blushes and she looks away. And kind of almost a little bit like anxiously brushes the moment off. I must see to final preparations. Thank you again for this news, and, well, I shall see you in the morning. And she'll offer you a little bow, as she
Yep.
often does.
I do a little bow.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, she sort of absent-mindedly gestures towards the door. The butler, lets himself in and kind of escorts you back out.
Okay. I guess go back to the war room to
Mhm.
discuss some things then.
Sure. Did you have other stuff you wanted to bring up then with everybody else, or just kind of resettling everybody centrally?
Or just like after I gather everybody, it's like, yo, she's gonna give us a bunch of shit though, so we might want to wait to kill her until after we get our stuff.
Oh, great. I was going to say something earlier, but I forgot. I figured it's like, we're gonna kill her rifle around in there anyway, so like, it wasn't really matter. But it's a lot more convenient if she just gives it to us.
Well, she said it was from a vault, so it's like, yeah, that's one less thing we gotta.
Yeah, it could be under trapdoors and all this other shit. Who knows where they're at?
Mhm.
But yeah, the Samuel devotion's doing
there's
work for me,
a hidden
so
number in each room.
I'll take another one.
It's your gift, another amulet, and you can't equip both at the same time.
I swear to God, if it's just an amulet of devotion +2. Did you just give me that one?
I think it would be absolutely hilarious if she gives everybody the same thing except Ralmir, who she gets like a new shiny present.
Here's a
Like you
Vorpal
were all,
blade.
yeah, you were all an afterthought. She just gave you the same thing. Or yes, you all get like a Kit Kat and a mini bottle of alcohol, and Ralmir gets like a real present. Oh, and the imp, yeah.
An imp pest dispenser.
Only dispenses like spicy cinnamon pez.
Some people like it.
Right? Hey, I like cinnamon candy. I like what are they, hot tamales, and I also like
Like big
red
reds.
gum. Yep. Or those little, what are they, red hots, little tiny round ones. I like those.
Yeah, it was like, I thought they were that or like fireballs.
Yeah.
Oh, fireballs are good too. Those are like a cinnamon
Or like the
gobstopper.
jawbreaker ones, yeah.
Man, damn it, now I want cinnamon candy. It's funny, I've actually kind of purged cinnamon from like anything I keep around. Of the people that I have over regularly or my coworkers, I know 3 people with like severe cinnamon allergies now, which I didn't realize was a thing.
Oh,
fucking Rin Man.
Yeah.
Oatmeal, anything is forbidden. Always has cinnamon in it.
Yep. Yeah, Rin is a big one. And then there's another thing. I really like the scent of pine, just for like air fresheners or candles or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But Elise is allergic to pine. So when Andrew and Elise were still living here in Phoenix, I had to just get rid of all of that shit because we had them over. It was like dangerous to have in the house.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, oh well. But yeah, weird. I think it's pretty well rounded at this point. I know it would be early to end, but obviously I'm not going to kick this off now with 30 minutes left. Is there anything else that anybody would like to do as this sort of final day progresses? We'll probably pick up realistically like pre-dawn final prep. I'm not going to like open the next session on, yeah, you're standing on the stage and outside the house. But if there are any things you guys would like to do this evening, just leaving that open. Sure. Absolutely. Fair. Was that a yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's sleeping and responded yes.
You still awake? Yeah. You still awake? Yeah. Ralmir in the corner with a pillow over his head so he
He's like, guys, shut up. I got a lot of stuff to do.
God, I have to perform in the morning.
I get stage fright.
What's the ghosty side we've been up to?
The ghost inside you said?
Yeah.
She's mostly quiet. I mean, her request of you was that you continue your efforts to keep, well, the people of Barovia safe and to try and depose Strahd.
I
So
figured it was one riot averted, and now we're about to try to avert a second one. I was like,
Yes. So you get the feeling she might have something to say or even do if it comes to it. But I think if you are like actively trying to introspect and see if you can sense anything from her. I don't think there's a full failure condition, but give me a religion roll to see how well you do. Pretty good.
That's it. Why is religion int? I'm so wise.
Right? You'd think it'd be wise, but I think it's supposed to reflect, that's supposed to be knowledge religion. They just took the
Yeah.
knowledge off the
It's the
front. So that's
studious
like
nature of
your,
religion rather
yes,
than like the spiritual connection to religion.
correct. But I have often felt it's funny because nature is wisdom, correct? And that's also supposed to be partly like the educated side. Anyway, a 20. Um, is this just something that you're trying to kind of poke and prod at as you are
Poke and
conducting your
prod
nightly
sounds more
prayers?
violent
Well, no, I know what
than
you
I
mean.
think he intends.
I didn't intend it in a violent way.
It was
That
more
you're
just a
trying to
reflection
commune with.
on. I don't even know if commune is the right word, but depending on how mind ready she is, that it really was just reflect on the
Sure.
ghost's purpose
Um,
and making sure that he's keeping in line with her desires.
I think more than words, you would get just kind of like almost detached emotions because she's, how do I put this? It's gonna sound negative, but she's kind of like a symbiote or a parasite here, right? She's clearly, when you encountered her spirit, she was bound to the place she was buried, but she's kind of riding along and not dragging anything from you, drawing anything from you, but you are her anchor. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Um,
But her
so
bones
most of the
still make
time,
the church hollow ground, not her
yes, they
spirit.
do. Correct. Well, her bones are an artifact, sort
Yeah.
of like any holy thing might assist in doing so. But I guess what I'm trying to say is most of the time she's kind of dormant. She may be listening, but she is not acting, as she has
Yeah.
limited energy with which to influence the world. But as you kind of, well, I guess do your best to open and listen, um, you would sense approval and brief flashes of memory, even, I think, might come to you. Moments where she had stepped in to prevent tensions from boiling over. And I think the one thing that actually sticks out the most is you see a scene. It's not here in Valaki, it's actually in Bresk.
Where
But
she was the other saint.
uh, perhaps. But this is not the crest that you're familiar with in the modern day. There is no wall. What it is, though, is that same isolated wooded village up nestled in the mountains with the snow dusting the top of the pines. And you see a collection of very, very thin, emaciated people that have not been doing well through the winter. And similar to what you've been doing the last few days, she used her miracles to bring food and water to the needy. So, as people were willing to riot against the current burgomaster to raid the last of the stores, and in fact, may very well have all starved if everybody had hurriedly grabbed everything and, ate until they were full. She also was able to conjure a feast for the masses. And in seeing that in her history, um, presumably hundreds of years ago, by how different things look, um, the abbey still shining on the hill as a new building, not as a terrible rundown asylum as it is today, I think you get the strong sense that you're on the right track, that you are adhering to the sort of virtues that she did in life, that the small folk are just as important as anyone else, and that in being worried about them, both making sure they're well fed and in being worried about casualties tomorrow, um, you get a sense of approval from the saint.
That's good. Interestingly, if she's a ghost, that means her soul's not currently in the recycle process. I don't know what the
Correct.
implications are of that. just an interesting observation.
You got a sense from her right when you first sort of bonded with this spirit that she was intentionally sticking around. She was using her will to remain.
Yeah,
Um,
that's like, why now?
who
And of course,
knows?
the answer to that should be because we're here. But
Yes, fate works in mysterious ways, as it often does when you're a foretold adventurer, right? It does certainly seem like a lot of things lined up for you guys to be here. Why was Madame Eva's caravan right there and ready for you when you arrived, you know? And she's convinced that fate has laid this all out. This was supposed to
so
happen.
is Irvir. I'm here
Yep.
because Lord Kellamvor sent me here to fix this shit.
Mhm. Yeah. We did have a couple in a row that were kind of combat heavy, didn't we? It is
Yeah,
Walker.
you're
Yeah.
Walker.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean,
No,
I
it's
do though,
absolutely.
but I do like stabbing.
Yes. Hmm. That's a rogue in a nutshell, right? The man with a plan and a sharp knife.
You just don't like them. Yeah, months of planning conspiracy. Well, I guess in game time was probably what, like a couple weeks.
It's been a few weeks, but I think this is like day 13 or 14, something like that. Um, yes. Day 13 or 14 total. This would be day 10 in Valaki tomorrow, right? Because wasn't the day after you arrived the festival? And
Yes.
or maybe
I
the day
think
after, so this is day 11. Because in Faerun and in most of fifth edition, weirdly, days are not or weeks are not 7 days. It's
10
not even
day.
a week. It's called a 10-day. Yes, which shockingly is 10 days long.
Huh.
Um, but yeah, so a month is 10 days. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just anytime it's mentioned in like official mods, it's 10 days. You know. But yeah, I think it's 10 days to a month and 3 months to a season. There's no like